Bronwyn Nielsen spoke to Vice President of the newly formed Brics Development Bank, Leslie Maasdorp. That's at the World Economic Forum that she spoke to him. And he talked about the newly created bank and some of those targets that they have. Let's have a look.
Everyone is talking about this funding, $100 billion reserve fund that will be able to catapult different projects across the Brics countries. Where are we in that process?
Bronwyn, as you know, the bank was set up 2 months ago, so it's really early days. Right now we are building infrastructure, setting up our systems, hiring people. So we're very much at the elementary stage of our operation. But ultimately, as you know, our vision, our mission is very clear. Our role is to fuel the economic takeoff of emerging markets, specifically the BRICS countries. For now, we have only the 5 countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Over time, this bank will develop into a institution that will embrace more members. But infrastructure, as you know, is a very critical ingredient of economic growth. And given the, if you like, a little bit of turbulence that we have seen in emerging markets, it's important that we take a more longer-term sort of view of the world, especially right now.
Talking about Brazil and Russia, those are the two soggy points in the BRICS equation at the moment, with Brazil looking at a contracting economy of 1.3% for this year, Russia down almost 2.5% on GDP growth this year. Will the China, India, South Africa part of the equation help in propping up those other two territories?
I think firstly, all 5 governments are very committed to the new development bank. So economic sort of booms and busts, are not new. We will see a recovery over time. When you're in a difficult situation, as we are right now, we kind of obsessed with the sort of market signals and the immediate sort of indicators. But as an infrastructure finance bank, Bronwyn, we take a medium to long-term view. We take 20-25-year horizons, right? So the ingredients, the underlying fundamentals and the economic drivers of these economies, of Brazil, of Russia, of South Africa, India, China, those are the things we focus on. However, those countries domestically have some challenges to deal with, including South Africa. If you didn't add South Africa to your list, we are not sort of in negative growth situation, but we do also have some unfavorable economic headwinds. But the fundamental commitment to the bank and the mission of the bank is there, and we're not concerned about that.
You've recently come out of the BRICS summit in Ufa in Russia, and interestingly there the government under Vladimir Putin has managed to alienate the West as a result of Crimea, Ukraine, through aggressive foreign policy, let's put it that way. Further, oil has collapsed and that's damaged the economy. The political tensions that Russia is embroiled in, has that been a debate point for the vice presidents and the president of the BRICS Bank?
The political tensions form the overall, if you like, backdrop to our work, right? It doesn't impact in the short or medium term to how we implement our strategies to build and set up the bank. However, I think it's important to mention that whilst these tensions might seem fundamental, they're defined by this moment that we're in right now. I'm sure in 2 to 3 to 5 years' time, we're going to be talking about different types of issues. A lot of people have suggested, as you know, that we will try and rival the World Bank, and we've been set up by this political agenda, this political bloc of countries wanting to rival the Bretton Woods institutions. I want to repeat what we said before, which is that we're aiming to complement the overall existing financial system. We want to learn draw the best practices from those institutions and aim to build what we call next practices, which will hopefully also invigorate those institutions, the old multilateral development banks that have existed for, in the case of the World Bank, for 70 years. So we're looking beyond these political tensions. And I must tell you, it's a real luxury, Bronwyn, to not be in a commercial or an investment bank where we are very much driven by the short term. Our clients are driven by the short term. Quarterly results matter, annual financial results matter. We have a long-term mandate to build infrastructure, building ports, building power stations. These are long-term economic endeavors. So it's a real luxury from where we look at the world. We look at it through slightly different lenses to a traditional bank.
Picking up on what Prime Minister Modi has said vis-a-vis the BRICS Bank, and that is really that it may be beneficial to fund projects specifically manufacturing projects across all of the BRICS nations. Are those the kind of strategies you're going to embark on?
Fundamentally, our mandate is broad. Our article says that we have to mobilize funding and use our existing capital to fund infrastructure and then also sustainable development. Now, sustainable development, as you know, is a very broad and general concept, right? So it embraces all kinds of other possibilities over time. As you know, education and health, for example, are critical ingredients of economic prosperity. You cannot just build roads and ports and power stations and an economy will suddenly be successful. You need to develop human capital. You need to improve quality of life.